Yeah, he just got dropped off for training. Yeah, you too. Hi guys, good morning. It is Thursday, and as you can see, we have a new board and train. So this is Ari. He is a 5-year-old German Shepherd. The head tilt. He just got dropped off, so he is here for 3 weeks, mostly working on his reactivity, house manners, and so actually he's already been to a board and train, so he already has a pretty basic understanding of the e-collar, obedience, structure, that kind of stuff. However, he is still struggling with some dog reactivity, and just learning how to just be bored. You know, if you know anything about German Shepherds, they are very vocal, they're a little whiny, a little squeaky, and he's no exception. So Ari will be here, yes, for the next 3 weeks, learning all the things. And even though he has been to a board and train, I do plan on reconditioning him to the e-collar to where he really understands that he can control the levels and his behavior dictates what that level is. So with a lot of dogs with their e-collar training, that seems to be the gap. They don't understand and that the highest level on the e-collar still is not extinguishing unwanted behaviors. So some of the unwanted behaviors he has like in the home is he barks on place, he's very reactive to loud noises. So during his stay, we'll be doing a lot of loud music, sirens, dogs barking on the screen, babies crying, all that sort of stuff. So actually his board and train might be a little different than what you typically see with me, is that it won't be such a focus on teaching those basics, sit down, come, heel, place, crate, that kind of stuff. He will still learn those things because that's how I'm going to recondition the e-collar, is by layering it over commands he already knows and really teaching him when that pressure turns on and when it turns off and how the levels change depending on his behavior. So I will still be reteaching those commands, but ultimately with doing that, it's to reteach the e-collar so that once we get to him on place and he, is reactive towards the TV or people or music, that e-collar is ultimately going to be that emergency brake and it will extinguish that behavior versus, sounds like right now it kind of irritates him. And whether that's the training or how it's being used back home is a question, but that's where with this time here, I'm going to be able to really identify what are the gaps. That's where I think with all of us, with our dogs, where it's like, what's the gap? What's keeping us from progressing? What's keeping us from being able to use our training? So you can already see he is very used to the crate. Luckily, he is, even though mom is working from home, has still kept up with the crate, which is awesome. We love that. So we just went for a little walk. That's where I got some before footage of what his dog reactivity looks like, and that's with no guidance. And I was talking with mom, and kind of our goal here is right now he can not be reactive like in those before videos. Like in a moment like that, if I was micromanaging and I was on top of every behavior, that reactivity might not have happened. But when I did nothing, he went, full throttle. So our goal is by the end of the board and train and during his board and train is to allow him to make those mistakes, make those choices, and learn, oh, this is now what happens when I make that choice, versus not letting him make that choice at all. Of course, when we begin the training, yes, we want to try to set our dogs up for success, let them, not practice that reactivity so they don't get better at it. But at this point, he understands what the alternative is, but reacting is still very tempting for him. He knows it's very rewarding and it usually works. So with his time here, I'm gonna let him make those mistakes, but then teach him why we don't make those mistakes and then have him find that alternative. So rather than reacting, he's gonna get a correction that's how I'm thinking it's going to go. But who knows? Once we get out in the field, things, you know, sometimes change. But allowing him to make that correction, because he knows that we don't want that, but it needs to happen where he goes full throttle, meets a correction on the other end of it, and have him learn, oh, that's why they have me sit when dogs walk by. Oh, that's why they have me heel. Versus some dogs, they don't understand, why are you making them sit? Why are you making them heel? So it looks like they don't have reactivity, but if you didn't do that, the reactivity is still there. It's not truly fixed. So that's what we're trying to aim with him, is not be so on top of him, micromanaging, so we can actually just like live with the dog, you know, and go for a nice casual walk without like, oh my God, I hope we don't pass a dog, and I hope my hands aren't full, I hope I'm not distracted, whatever. You know, we're humans. We shouldn't have to always be on top of it, you know? So that's our plan with Mr. Ari here. I know I just kind of ramble, but you know, that's how it goes. What else during his stay here? You know, yeah, a lot of just like teaching him how to be bored. Family is expecting, so he's gonna have to learn how to kind of be on the back burner and not be entitled to, you know, an outing in the morning. You know, yes, you'll get your walks, yes, you'll get your training, yes, you'll get your play, but it might not happen until 3 p.m. And during the day, you need to be nice and chill. You know, that's the reality of having a pet. You know, yes, we exercise and we fulfill our dog, but it might not happen first thing in the morning. It might not even happen in the evening. It might be smack dab in the middle of the day. You know, so that's also stuff we're working on. Yeah, and just as general, just like state of mind, you know. I don't know if I included some clips, but it's just a lot of him just circling around me, whining, squeaking. So want to get him just a little more composed and feeling a little more confident in himself and confident in his handler, that it's like, we're very fair. We will punish behaviors we don't like. We'll have a lot of fun with you, and we'll just be a nice, stable handler for him that he can trust and feel confident in. And that's where, of course, during his stay, his owners will come over 2 times while he's here for 3 weeks, and then we'll have that final go home. So ultimately, there will be 3 sessions during his stay here, and then once he goes home, there are free lessons for life. So if there's any time where maybe they want to teach something new, or they just want to get a refresher with me, that can happen anytime in his life for free. And they also have free admission to classes, which, so that's how I know Ari, is that we were actually on a pack walk, and his mom was on a walk with him. I think mom and dad were on a walk with him, and they saw us and they were like, oh, are you guys like a pack? Are you guys a group walk? Like, what's going on? And I was like, yeah, gave her my Instagram. And then ever since then, they've been coming to almost all my group classes, which is pretty funny. So it's like, I actually know Ari pretty well, but not like in a one-on-one, away from mom, away from group class, you know, like just seeing Ari for what it is without the micromanaging, and yeah, you know, out of his element. So yeah, like it's kind of interesting how I know Ari. And also he was supposed to be a guide dog. He flunked out pretty early. I don't know why exactly. I think it's probably just mindset stuff. Now that I kind of see, you know, maybe some dog activity too. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, so I'm like, Ari, he's got the hardware, we've got the good dog, we just need to make sure the training is really there and it's solid. So yeah, I'm like, that's where, like I was saying, where this might be a little bit the content you see from me. He's also, I've gotten lucky these past 4 board and trains have been very happy-go-lucky, easy, friendly dogs. Where with Ari, this is more what I typically work with. So I'm like, if you're new to following me, you're like, oh man, Haley, like this is new, but this is really typically what I work with. But I've just been lucky with some, you know, and I don't even know if lucky is really the right word. It's just like, I've just been working with a little more friendly, happy-go-lucky dogs recently. But Ari, this is really more of my wheelhouse, more of my cup of tea. Yeah. Anything else I have to say? I don't think so for now. I'm sure you guys will hear from me soon. I think I'm actually going to put this up on IGTV rather than YouTube, and just see how we like it. Okay, guys, I will talk to you later. Hey, hi, guys. So it's only been maybe 2 hours since I made that intro video with Ari, and I'm sure I included the clip of what it looked like when I brought my dogs up here. No.
introduction, honey. That's a good boy, Mr. Ari.
First, kind of showing Ari that, hey, there's other dogs here. Because there does come a time when you have a board and train or a dog in your house that you need to make that introduction. And with every dog, it's a little different. You know, some dogs I can just, start with a walk and introduce them that way. Some dogs you can just let right onto the yard and introduce them that way. But I knew with Ari, those things probably weren't going to be the best, considering he is leash reactive. So I started off, I figured the crate's probably the best way. Have him just see. So why I'm making this video is I want to talk about why I think it's really important and really helpful. And yes, I have the cat in a crate right now because he actually got really puffy and kind of aggressive. So the cat's crated. But why I think it can be so important to have your dog, if you're going to do a board and train, have it be an in-home board and train. Or if you're gonna go with maybe a bigger box facility, at least needs to have like half the time in a home. And why I think that is, one, I can keep an eye on him all the time. So he's never just alone in an empty facility, sleeping overnight, where he might be in this crate for, 12 hours overnight. Typically I don't keep a dog in a crate for that long overnight. But if it were to happen, at least it's in my home. I have a baby camera. I can watch him at all times. But also, another thing is that, he is living in a home environment, which when he goes back home, it's very similar. So we're able to, like I was saying in that intro video, oh my God, he is reactive, to doorbells, people, loud music, dogs, barking, that kind of stuff. So it's like, I'm able to simulate that stuff in a home setting that it's not so foreign or sterile. This environment is not sterile at all. This space is about as sterile as it gets. And even already I am adding in distractions and really just seeing, what I was talking about is like, I need to assess. I need to see how bad is the reactivity, can it be squashed, and does he recover? And what I'm noticing is, yeah, it can be squashed and he can recover. So from here, what I also think is, Claire and Blake are over there laying on the bed, Dookie's here, Cat's back here, Ari. But I think it's also super important that Ari can start to see that, yes, I'm going to punish growling, snarling, barking, lunging, that reactivity. That is going to be punished. But I'm also going to advocate for your space. So it's a fine balance of, yes, I will advocate for your space, keep you successful, but I'm also going to punish you for acting in a way that is totally unnecessary. So he's in a crate. The dogs aren't going to get to him. He's not going to get to the dogs. So there is no reason to do what he did, and that was corrected. And what we're seeing now is that he's going, okay, well, if I can't do that, what else can I do? And this is what he offered. He offered to just lay here, and yes, he's a little stressed. Yes, he's a little overwhelmed. He's got a dog right here looking right at him. He's in the back of his crate feeling uncomfortable, And this is where we're putting some pressure on the dog. So in these first couple of days, you'll notice where it's like, the cat, I'm really trying to find what is that line for Ari. And the true line, not the line that he kind of shows me like, oh, I don't like that. It's like, do you just not like it, or is it truly intolerable for you, So that's kind of that line I'm trying to find with him. And here, what I'll say is I want him to see that I will keep him safe. I will never push him way out of his boundaries, but he might be kind of pushed out of his comfort zone. That's why he's here. They are here to learn, here to understand that these 3 dogs are friendly. They're not going to try to bite you. They're not going to try to hurt you. But also, if you show me warning signs like you're stiff and uncomfortable, I'm going to read that and I'm going to advocate for your space. And then over time, as time goes on, is trying to broaden that tolerance where he's like, oh, I don't like that dog sniffing my butt, but I'll allow it because I know they're going to move along. Truly socializing a dog so they can really understand, like, just because a dog is sniffing your butt typically doesn't mean then they're going to end up mounting you and biting you or whatever. Excuse you. So that is something why I really recommend, if you're going to do a board and train, do it in home, because your dog is really able to act a little more naturally, and the trainer is able to really see what your dog is really like in a home. and really troubleshoot through those moments that you're probably struggling with at home. Because I will say, even here, the dogs are really good. You know, they're out of their element, they're trying their best. You know, but that's also why I keep dogs for 3 weeks, is that, because usually the first week, it's, is the honeymoon phase. You know, they're acting, they're really good. They're like, okay, Miss Haley, like, I'll be good. I won't cause any trouble. And then it's about that second week where they're like, okay, this is, you know, is there a loophole? Is there a way I can get out of this? Because they're used to that working at home. So that's why I keep dogs, you know, for 3 weeks. Which really isn't that long. I mean, I wish I could keep dogs for like a month and a half. You know, just so I could really, you know, cross my T's and dot my I's and, you know, add my apostrophes, you know, but I don't think that's always necessary though. So I'm like, if you're looking into board and training options for your dog, I recommend looking for one that is in a home. Yeah. So, and also in a home where the trainer isn't also keeping, you know, 5, 6 other board and trained dogs. Because he's here, there will be other boarding dogs. But they're already trained. So like they're not getting that like direct training, constant attention. You know, they're already trained. Thank you. Also, a trainer that isn't overworked. You know that, no, down. That is something I really have taken seriously this past year or so, is not overbooking myself. You know, charge more. Give yourself some vacations. Like, I only take one board and train at a time because like I really want to be able to focus on them. So those are just things to kind of look for when you are looking for a trainer, but specifically a board and train. It should be a lot of work, you know, being very intensive with the dog, very purposeful, and like, yeah, I spend a lot of time with these dogs. So, you know, I felt like even when I had Libby and Lacey, you know, 2 board trains, even though they're from the same family, I felt like it was hard. You know, that's something I used to do. I think maybe at one time 3 board and trains at once. And I could do it, I made it work, but I was burnt out by the end of it. You know, that's not sustainable. So all to be said. So this is what Ari's looking like. Yeah, that's a good boy. This is what Ari's looking like when I got the other dogs in here. It didn't start off pretty. None of this is going to start off pretty. That's why he's here. So, but we're seeing that he can recover. So I hope this was helpful. I feel like I'm just, you know, as you guys know, with a lot of the videos I take, it's just kind of random. It's just kind of what I'm thinking about in that moment. So I hope this was maybe helpful. Okay, so I just grabbed his leashes and he's getting very amped up and excited. So I thought this would be good to show. I'm like, that's why I make so much content the first couple days, because this stuff quickly gets stopped. So what I'm gonna do is don't need this one. He's got his own little color scheme. This is Jade from Mendota. The color's Jade from Mendota, if you're wanting this color. Hi, sir. I know. This is where we get right onto it. So I get his e-collar at a meaningful level, so it'll be about a 20. Good boy. Sit. Good. And even here. No. When I leash him up, we don't then just go right away. So even once he's leashed, I mean, that's how you start creating a new association with the leash. No. Good boy. And even with the crate door, that's like, just because the crate door is open doesn't mean we're going anywhere. Good boy. Good. Because that's where he's like right now. He's like, yes, I'm being calm. I'm laying there. And it's the first day, so I'm not going to be like super picky here. It's like, think about it. It's like, okay, he's not bolting. He's not whining. So we're good. Break. Good boy. But all these little moments start here where it's like, if I let him keep ramping himself up, sit. Good, Ari. Good boy, honey. No. Good. I'm taking your time. Good boy. Good. And this is what people pay for, is having the patience to just sit here and wait. Because this whining, he does it because it works. It's been reinforced. Yes, he's been in his crate for a little bit. He's a little stressed. Again, guys, like he just got here. There's gonna be a little bit of stress that happens. But he needs to learn that this whining isn't gonna get me to move any quicker. If anything, it gets me to move a lot slower. And then later on down the line, it's actually gonna be punished. But right now, we just wait it out. That's fine, he doesn't need a potty. He's not hungry, none of that. So this is lesson number 1, easy. I'm just saying, I'm like, sometimes this stuff, it's so easy. You just have to identify it. Because with him, obviously, we're not gonna be doing fast paced, sit down, play, meh. It's like, slow. He already knows that stuff. Slow it down. And that's where even once we get going, even to get outside, nice and slow. Because I'm gonna set this tone day one. Day one, I'm gonna start. The whining will not get you anywhere. It might even take you back. That's like with this, the whining. If he were to increase, he's gonna go back in the crate actually. And he's like, oh, shit. Good boy, buddy. And this again, I'm just seeing how set in stone is this? What's the whining about? What helps, what doesn't? Good. Good. So it's been 5 minutes? Not bad. That's not bad at all. Good. Good. Okay. Let's go, big man. Okay, we're just taking a little stroll around the block now. I actually have him on a slip lead now, which I like to use for reactive dogs. Because sometimes the prong collar, he might even be a little desensitized to the prong collar. But with the slip lead you have, like you can tighten up on it tighter so that if worse comes to worse, you can actually choke the dog out. I'm like, as pleasant as that sounds. But with this, I'm like, yeah, so he's just on the slip lead. And all I've done is just eliminated the pulling. And all this stuff will be in your manual, so don't feel like you have to remember all this. But also what I'm looking for is his ears. So they should be kind of back like that. If they start to fixate forward, he will get a no and a tap. And that's really all we're working on right now. You know, it's like he knows where he should be. And I'm really, in those moments I'm correcting state of mind, not necessarily his obedience. Because he can still be reactive and heel, but it's like we obviously don't want that. So correcting that state of mind while he's in the heel, because heel is so much more than just a physical position. So I brought the long line. Don't judge my attire. Just got up to the park. Good boy, buddy. And I will talk to you guys soon. Gonna be at a 40. Good. So he's allowed to make that choice. Good boy. Good boy. Good. And he's so easy to read. This tail, the ears, so easy to read. So even, look at all his leashes. He's already learning, like, you can make that choice. You can go react, but you'll be met with punishment. So that's where, and I'm like, I will probably sound so repetitive, but I would rather sound repetitive than not get the point across. But allowing him, you can make those choices, but if you do, there is a correction. So I'm not gonna in this moment tell him HEEL and micromanage. I want him to learn what are the consequences of an action like that. Good boy. And of course I'll give feedback where, good boy. So this is all fine with me. You know, maybe in a week from now, I want him to be more neutral. But right now we're keeping our criteria so minimal and so broad that he's able to really understand what he's learning. And this isn't about obedience right now. Good boy. Good boy. You know, even if you wanted to go over there and sniff in the grass right there, that's fine with me. Let's even go do that. Let's see what he does. Let's see what you do. Good. Good boy. Good. Good boy, Ari. Good job, buddy. So yeah, this is what we're doing. It's pretty boring. Pretty boring. Good job, buddy. Good job. It's even that you're allowed to look. Looking is fine. Because that's where even that I want to teach him that too. That's like, you can look. Look at using his nose. You can be curious. It's that line of aggression, reactivity. That's what gets punished. It's not that, yeah, you can't look at dogs. So yeah, I'm making, with all these videos, let me know if you guys have any questions or if something isn't making sense or, yeah, any of that kind of stuff. So I just want to show you what it looks like. So we just left the park. What it looks like if you were to go pool. No. Good. So his ears perked up, and I said no, and I tapped. So I mean, that's the basic formula, is that, you know, especially once he goes home, you won't be doing all these little fancy little tricks and, you know, all the drills and stuff. You know, you will just be in maintenance phase where, I mean, already, like, we're seeing, like, he gets it. He understands, like, what we want from him. It's just, I think we needed more of a meaningful consequence for that stuff. No. Good. So every time his ears perk up like that, and that was just at another squirrel, so it's like, no. We're correcting for that. And that's why I do that, because then once we see a dog, I've already kind of, you know, done my checks and balances of, you know, no, we can't do squirrels, no, we can't do birds, no, you know, no kids, no people. So that once we come across a dog, it's a no-brainer. She's like, okay, obviously. He's like, obviously I can't, you know, fixate on a dog. So we try to be picky, you know, especially in the beginning. But even, you know, in the maintenance phase, like being picky about, like, no, you can't be fixating on anything that moves around you, especially with his history, you know. So it's like, once he starts proving himself, like with those dogs, you know, that I just recorded, it's like, once he starts proving himself that, like, yeah, you know, looking at a squirrel doesn't lead to pulling or leading to reactivity, then it'll be okay. But right now, I'm strict Miss Haley. You know, you're not allowed to do those things. So that's a lot of what the training is. You know, he has to prove to me, but then he needs to prove it to his parents. You know, so yeah, that's what that looked like. You know, 2 corrections at a level 20 gives you an idea of what that looks like, where I'm not naggy, but also he knows what he should be doing. So here, if I were to slow down, good boy. You know, see, this is what I'm saying. You know, he already understands. Check my, good boy. Check my pace. My handler is relevant. You know, but now it's like just really tightening that up. But also, as you can see, is that he's not even in a heel command. Is that we're not having to constantly micromanage. But when I do manage, it's effective and it's meaningful. So, good stuff, Ari, man. Yes, good boy. Nice job, buddy. Break. Yes. Good buddy. Break.
Good buddy. Oh my gosh, Ari. Oh my gosh. Break. He's got his ball. Wow. He said too many sniffs. Get it, Ari. Weirdo. You're a weirdo.
Ari's learning that I like to watch dog grooming videos in my free time.
Oh, perfect timing. No. Wow. I know, you were just about to lay down. Good boy, honey. Good boy, honey. Oh. Using his nose, though. That's nice to see. Good boy, Ari. Dumb and dumber. Get your ball, get your ball. Oh, look at Mr. Man in a good mood. Get that ball. Get that ball. Get that ball.
So we're passing by. Pretty reactive dog over there. Good boy, Ari. Good job, buddy. Okay, Mr. Ari joining us on place. Good boy. So he's got the tie back here and then just his other leash on. You're so weird. Oh, happy puppy.